Stardust and Shadows. Chapter 1. Under starlit skies. The stars hung low, a canvas of twinkling diamonds against the inky blackness, painting the sky with an ethereal beauty only witnessed on rare occasions under the celestial ballet of nature's performance. I stood there, breathless, as if the universe had crafted this moment specifically for me. Lila, alone yet not alone in my solitude. My heart still reeled from the echoes of a shattered dream, the echoes of shattered promises, and the shattering of what once was. In this fragile state, I found myself at the edge of town's small observatory, lost amidst the vastness that had always captivated me with its promise of infinity. It was here that I sought refuge from the crushing weight of my reality, where the whispers of distant worlds and unrequited love seemed less overwhelming. My gaze drifted towards a figure under the starlight, shrouded in mystery by the night's veil. His presence drew me closer, an apparition amidst the constellation of dreams and shattered hopes. Ethan stood at the edge, gazing out into the expanse, his silhouette a stark contrast against the vibrant glow above. I recognized the outline of him as someone who, like me, found solace in these heavens. A fleeting connection bridged us. Our shared sorrow, perhaps. Intrigue piqued my curiosity. I edged closer, the gravel beneath my boots cracking softly. As I reached the edge, a whisper escaped his lips. "You should be careful walking alone here tonight." A smile tugged at my lips as I countered with a simple yet honest reply. "And you shouldn't." The enigmatic man turned to face me. Ethan's eyes were a mystery. Shadows danced in their depths, veiling an untold story within the abyss of his irises. A hint of a smirk played on his lips before he retreated into his aloof shell once more. My pulse skipped as our eyes met for a moment longer than necessary. "You're not from around here, are you?" he asked, voice low and rich. My chin lifted in defiance despite the tremble that ran down my spine. "How did you know?" With an enigmatic smile, he murmured, "The way you face the night sky, it's a gesture reserved for those who find solace in it." The corners of his mouth curled upwards as he extended a hand. "Ethan." I accepted the offered handshake, my palm meeting his in a firm grip before he let go too soon. "Lila." A faint nod from him signaled our agreement to share this moment together under the celestial showcase. We danced amidst the stars, an impromptu tango that was both beautiful and painful. With every step, I felt the weight of my heart slowly lifting. Ethan's touch was a whisper away from mine. His hand on my waist sent shockwaves through me as he pulled us closer. He spoke little but breathed much. Thoughts and emotions carried in the breeze as we moved across the stone floor. In those quiet moments between our shared breaths, I sensed a longing for connection that echoed within me. His words were laced with a depth I couldn't grasp, a sorrow that danced at the edge of recognition. A gentle breeze swept through, rustling the leaves and carrying us closer to the observatory's edge. "Tell me your story," he requested without looking over his shoulder. My breath caught. How did he know? How could he possibly understand my longing to be heard when I'd barely dared voice it myself? "I've lost everything." I spoke softly, as though the stars were listening. Ethan's eyes met mine, a flicker of understanding there before he turned back to the sky. "I, too," was all he offered. A shared silence fell between us. The darkness seemed to swallow us whole, and yet, in that moment, I felt less alone than I had in months. He pulled me closer still, our bodies swaying harmoniously as if the universe itself orchestrated this chance encounter. His hand brushed against my cheek before disappearing into his pocket, producing a small notebook. Pages filled with words scrawled in elegant script. "Write it down," he commanded, handing it over. Let your dreams and fears bleed onto those sheets. As I accepted the offering, fingers intertwined with mine through our entwined hands. In that moment, under the starlight, something within me awakened. A desire to confront the shadows of my soul. The paper held stories of both joy and pain, etched in Ethan's writing, each line pulsating with his own unspoken story. His breath danced against my skin as he leaned close. When you feel the weight of it all, find solace in its pages. The kiss was brief yet powerful. A promise of what could be forged between us, between the dust and darkness. Dawn began to creep across the horizon, painting the world with hues of pink and gold. Ethan slipped away as suddenly as he appeared, leaving me bereft and bewildered. "Until next time," was his parting words before disappearing into the shadows like a ghost, leaving behind a notebook that became my guiding star in the darkness. Overcome with both desire and confusion, I returned home with those pages. Filled not only with my thoughts but also the promise of a mystery man who'd awakened something inside me. Days passed, each dawn breaking without Ethan. The notebook remained on my nightstand, its pages pulsing with his spirit. The allure he held was irresistible, a magnetic force that drew me back to those starlit nights. My pen met paper under moonlight. It felt like a whispered secret. Every fear, every hope, the heartbeats and the silences. The words spilled onto the page without restraint or reason. I found solace in its lines until the night he reappeared. He pulled me close as our eyes met with familiar understanding before his lips claimed mine under the watchful gaze of Orion's belt. This time, it was not a fleeting promise but an embrace that promised what could be forged between us. Two souls bound by stardust and shadows. He whispered, "Your heart beats for the unknown," before vanishing once more into nothingness. Chapter 2. A moment's eternity. In the days since Ethan vanished beneath the dawn's first rays, I clutched the notebook like a lifeline, weaving our tales of love and longing within its pages. The ink bled with every touch of his presence. He reappeared on the following night, this time leading me to a secluded clearing under an ancient oak. "Dance with me," he commanded as the stars chose their final dance before sunrise. I found myself drawn into his embrace once more, his hands molding around my waist, our bodies entwined by both desire and mystery. Ethan's eyes locked onto mine. Those shadows within him seemed to shimmer under the moonlight. "Let's find what we dare not speak aloud." His lips brushed against my ear before a whispered promise. Together. As dawn approached, he vanished once more. This time, I knew what awaited me. A new world of possibility and pain. The notebook was filled with both our stories now. The dance became the rhythm to a life I dared dream of living. Yet, each morning saw him gone. His absence left behind an ache that echoed in every beat. I wrote as though his spirit guided my hand across the page. Ethan reappeared on the third night, and he took me by the hand to the observatory's edge, crouching with a look of determination. In bold script, scrawled across one of those sheets, "Meet me at midnight under the oak." I arrived as asked, the moon hanging low over us. The notebook had become our bridge. With every word, our connection deepened. Ethan led me to a hidden room where he'd written his own story. Raw and powerful tales of loss and longing. He spoke in hushed tones of the heartbeats that once beat for things we dared not speak aloud. In his eyes, I found an unspoken understanding. The fourth night brought us to a cliffside overlooking the city. Ethan handed me a pen, his fingers intertwining with mine as he began to write by moonlight. stories of love and loss. His words merged with my own, painting vivid pictures under the silver glow. In that silence between lines, we found solace and longing. The notebook had become our binding truth. The fifth night, beneath a full moon, he showed me his face for the first time. Haunting eyes and unspoken tales in every crease. His lips brushed against mine before he vanished once more. I was left with pages filled with dreams and fears, a heart full of hope. It wasn't until dawn that I realized he'd drawn me back home. Tears fell as I read his story in silence. Of loss and love, a tale that could be my own if not for the courage to speak it aloud. The notebook bore his confession of longing for connection yet fear of being hurt again, of opening up only to be silenced by life. My fingers traced the lines he'd penned about me, as though they spoke directly to my soul. Chapter 3. Shadows and Stardust. With every line I read through tears and laughter. This man who haunted me with his presence and heartbeats unknown, I crafted a response in kind. The sixth night, beneath a moonlight so bright it seemed an omen, he returned. For the first time, Ethan allowed himself to be seen. In those eyes that bore the weight of the world, I found solace. Words flowed like rivers as we danced under the celestial canvas. Tales of dreams and nightmares, promises and fears. The notebook had become a bridge between us, bridging worlds we dared not enter otherwise. His lips met mine with conviction. This time, they spoke of hope and the fear that bound us together. In those moments under the stars, he confessed his name was Alexander. He whispered, "I dare you to find me." And so I did. Beneath a moon full of promise, as the pages turned into our shared history. Our lips became entwined beneath the light of countless stars. He kissed me goodnight, leaving behind the notebook and another note, "Come alone. There is still much we have yet to explore." The seventh night brought us together at sunrise. Under the same oak tree where it all began. This time, it was not a kiss but a confession. He led me through winding streets, towards an abandoned theater. As curtains fell, we spoke of dreams and fears. With every word shared, our hearts beat as one. Our stories became the show, performed in silence for unknown ears. It felt like coming home to myself, with Alexander by my side. We ventured deeper into ourselves that night, sharing truths under a sky full of promises yet unseen. The notebook bore witness to our love amidst stardust and moonlight. In this world we'd forged, the line between reality blurred. When I opened the last page, there was but one line left. An address to meet him on the rooftop at sunset. With trembling hands, my heart in tow, I arrived to find Alexander standing, notebook in hand, amidst a sky that looked upon our history and future. With Ethan's help, we crafted a tale of two souls bound by their longing for life, our story intertwined with the cosmos. He spoke of love under the stars he'd once believed in. My hands trembled as I took his. A bond forged on paper now fleshed out. In that embrace, there was no silence between us, only the promise of beginnings yet to come. We found a world where words became our solace and hearts our canvas. And so we danced under starlight, embracing the promise of what could be, bound by every line, each beat our hearts shared in symphony with stardust and dreams. The silence between us was now filled with laughter. Promises yet to come beneath celestial lights. To be continued.